So welcome everybody. So tonight I thought we would work with a group of practices that kind of interconnect, even though one of them is from a very different region of the world. So we're going to work with Savitri breathing, which is from the Gitananda lineage. And then we're going to bring the use of the Tibetan mantra Om Ah Hum on the breath into the Savitri rhythm, because it works really well with it. So remember, Savitri is where the breath is just an expression of the natural breath. So when we breathe naturally and healthily, which isn't always the case, we should breathe in, and then there's a slight pause, and then we breathe out, and then there's another pause. And Savitri is an expression of that wave. So we create a rhythm. So we'll start with a 6-3, and we'll go in for 6, pause for 3 at that top of the wave, exhale for 6, pause with the breath out for 3, and we'll do that for a little while, and then we'll move up to 8-4. The rhythms go all the way up to 16-8 and beyond, but we're just going to stay with the simple lower 2 tonight. And then we'll drop the count and we'll add in a mantra. So we'll add in Om Ah Hum, and you'll go in with the Om as you're breathing in. Then you'll pause and you'll hear the sound Ah, and then you go hum, and the hum also incorporates the second pause. And then you come back in again. So the mind starts to focus on the mantra, and the mantra is for the body, mind and speech, so drawing us into stillness. So let's make a start. We'll just do some little warm-ups for the body. So spine nice and straight. Let's close the eyes, take a deep breath in. Have a sigh out. And again. Lovely, once more. Lovely. Now let's just turn the head one way and then the other with the breath, so easing out any tension around the neck that accumulates throughout the day, especially if you do a lot of computer work or you're sat for long periods of time. Good, now let the chin drop down and start to circle the head. Just nice and slowly pay attention to how that feels for the neck. Keep the jaw relaxed. Just really slow it down and enjoy that release through the neck vertebrae and the tension that we carry in the muscles of the neck. Lovely, let's change directions. Lovely, back to centre. So let's just take the movement into the whole of the spinal column. So let's take a twist to the right. Just keep the eyes closed, breathe into the rotation. Lovely, and change. Lovely, back to centre. Let's do some cat-cow movements. So hands on the thighs, inhale. Just lift the gaze, let the body travel forward slightly. Exhale, chin to chest, squeeze the tummy muscles in. Inhale, coming forwards. And exhale. Just let the movement gently nurture the spinal column and the muscles of the back. It's nice and slowly focusing your attention on the sound of the breath. Lovely, now just bring yourself to upright. And just take another movement for the shoulders. So inhale, squeeze the shoulders up to the ears, and as you exhale, inhale. One more. Lovely. Now just let the hands rest comfortably together. And with the eyes closed, let's just bring our attention to the natural breath. So being aware of how it moves through the nostrils. Be aware of the texture, the sound of the breath. And then follow the breath all the way back out. So at this point there's no counting, we're just observing the natural breath. Good, now be aware of the breath as it moves from the nose through the throat and back out again to the tip of the nose. So just increasing your range of focus on the breath. So nose to throat and back out. Good, now shift your attention from the nose to the top of the chest, noticing the gentle expansion of the lungs at the top. Start to notice how the breath expands the rib cage. Be aware of the ribs at the front, side and back of the body. And then be aware of the breath moving right down into the base of the lungs, into the diaphragm, and we feel that by inferred movement. So we feel it by the push of the tummy coming out, a sense of a push down into the visceral organs where they get massaged by the deep abdominal breath. So feel the tummy moving outwards on that inhalation and it gently moving back in, just like a balloon inflating and deflating. Lovely. Now we're going to add a simple count, so we'll work with Sukha Pranayama. So if you're familiar with how to count it with the right hand, then use that if you wish to, otherwise I'll count it for you. So just going to breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for 4. Be aware of that wave-like rhythm of the breath where there's a very subtle pause at the top of the breath in. And then there's a very subtle pause at the end of the breath out. Keep the mind focused. So when we focus on mind, it's a concentration technique. It's known as dharana in the yogic steps, and it's number 6 on the path of yoga. Lovely. Let's increase that count to 5. So as we increase the count, remember, we're not necessarily breathing in for more, depending on lung capacity, but we're slowing the breath down to increase the count, which has a knock-on effect on the mind. So breathing in for 5, be aware of the pauses. And as we increase the count, there's more of a pause where we can just really savour the stillness that you find in the pauses. Lovely, let's increase the count to 6. Be aware of that, just that moment when there's no breath required, just a pause, exhaling, let yourself sink into the exhalation at the pause at the bottom with the breath out. So at this point we're not counting the pauses, we're only counting the inhale and the exhale, which is a 6 at the moment. Just really paying attention to the texture and the sound of the breath as you breathe in for 6. So the more we slow the breath down, the subtler the sound of the breath becomes. Just in and out for 6. Lovely, let's increase the count to 7. In, observe the natural pause at the top of the breath in, and then 7 out, observing the natural pause at the end of the breath out. So remember, these pauses are opportunities to be totally still. And let the pause, that stillness, support you and nurture you. Just keep bringing the mind back when it wanders. Lovely, now increasing the count to 8. Again, observing the natural pauses, let them support you. Breathing in for 8, we're just breathing in a lot more slowly. So the breath is almost silent when we're breathing in at this count. Be aware of that sense of the eternal exchange that's talked about in the Radiant Sutras. Where the inflow becomes the outflow and the outflow becomes the inflow, the continual flow of divine energy on the breath. Lovely. Now just release the count. Notice the subtle changes in the mental energy and the activity of the mind. So although we're using a pranayama, which is the fourth limb of yoga, it kind of merges into concentration technique after a while. So the limbs of yoga are really more of a continuum. Now we're going to start to add in a purposeful count in the pauses. We're going to work with the 6-3, 6-3 Savitri rhythm. So 6-3 is specifically for our emotional layer of the body. It's really powerful to keep us in emotional balance. And you might find that because you might be new to this practice, that you want to just stay with 6-3, we will move up to 8-4. And then we'll drop the count and add in the mantra silently. So breathe in for a count of 6. Hold the breath in for a count of 3. Breathe out for 6. And hold the breath out for 3. So remember, breathe in really slowly so it feels comfortable. And when you start to really drop into this space within you that's very quiet, you may become aware of the heartbeat, which you can use as a metronome to help you count. So the natural beat of the heart becomes the internal metronome, like you would use if you were using the old-fashioned tick-tick-tick metronomes for playing music too. So really feel that internal rhythm. Keep your awareness internalized. Be particularly aware of that internal beat of the heart when you're holding the breath. We're going to do another round of 6-3, so we just go deeper into that emotional balance. Notice when you sit really still, you can feel the heartbeat just very slightly moving the body. Allowing those pauses to really nurture you, support you. Be aware of a sense of going deeper and deeper into your what's known as the ground of being, that essence within us that supports us and nurtures us. So I'm going to offer an 8-4-8-4 rhythm. So it doesn't suit everybody. This is the body breath and it regulates all the systems in the body. If you start the breath and then feel it's too much for you, then just stay with the 6-3. So breathing in for 8. Holding for 4. Breathing out for 8. Holding out for 4. And just keep going. So be your own judge of what's best for you. Maybe you drop back to 6-3, or maybe you can sustain the 8-4. Keep the mind focused on the count, spine nice and upright. Lovely. Now just release the counts. If you did attempt the 8-4, you might notice there's a change. So what happens to me is I get an increase in temperature in my body with the 8-4 compared to the 6-3. A bit sweaty. Okay, so we're just going to drop the count and we're going to add in a mantra. So as you inhale, I want you to hear the sound ah, om, sorry. So as you inhale, inhale, om. And then in that top pause, just hear the sound ah, A-H. And then as you exhale and that breath is releasing out, it's the hum, H-U-M. And let that hum continue into the pause. And then you breathe in again, om. Holding the ah in the pause in with the breath. And then exhaling the hum. Hear it in the held out breath as well. Inhaling om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. And just keep going. So if it helps, you can visualize the words as you're breathing them in. Om as you breathe in. Ah as you pause with the breath in. Hum as you exhale and as you hold the breath out. So that extends the hum sound silently. Lovely. Now I want you to just simply hear the mantra as you breathe in and out. So if you want to continue the pauses, then do so. Otherwise, just hear yourself repeating the mantra Om Ah Hum. Om Ah Hum. And at the same time, if you're able to, so we're layering the meditation now, so it goes deeper and deeper. as you hear that sound of the mantra Om Ahum, have a sense of visualizing yourself sitting in meditation posture and you're viewing yourself. And at the top of the head is this amazing white light, and from it is the symbol Om radiating in a white light. The crown of the head radiant in white light, and the sound Om emanating from it. At the throat, there's a red light radiating, and this is the sound Ah, the sound for speech. And then in the center of the heart space, an amazing sapphire blue light with the symbol Hum radiating, the sound Hum radiating. Om, white at the top. Ah, red around the throat, beautiful iridescent red colour. And then Hum at the heart space, this beautiful sapphire blue. Just keep repeating it. Om, Ah, Hum. Feel it gathering like these beautiful iridescent clouds around the crown of the head. Ah, around the throat in red, and then Hum in blue, almost as if the body's like a mountain and it's so high up, like the Himalayas, that the peaks are covered in these clouds, and we've got white right at the top, red around this area here at the throat, and then this beautiful blue. Om, Ah, Hum. Body, speech, mind. Om, Ah, Hum. From the head down. White for Om. Ah is red and Hum is blue. Body, mind, and speech, or body, speech, mind. So the crown is the body, Ah is speech, and mind is at the heart space. Just be aware of those colours radiating out from you. Crown is white, Om. Throat is red, Ah. Heart is blue, Hum. And have a sense of dissolving into these beautiful colours. Lovely, and just preparing to close the meditation now. 3 more breaths. Om, Ah, Hum. Let's bring the hands to the heart space. Be aware of the hands being bathed in the blue light. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up above the head, a sense of the white light. And then as you exhale, coming down through the white, it changes into that beautiful red and back into the blue. And just take a moment to rest in the stillness, the silence and the space that you've created, the ground of being. And namaste. Thank you for joining me.